Hi, Dixie. Good morning. Good morning, or afternoon, evening, whichever it might be when you're watching this. But I just kind of wanted to say that we have a tree guy coming out finally. Um, and I'm going to try to show you all the trees that we want him to take down. So it'd be everything behind the house here. You know, this going this way. All the trees this way. And then we're going to have this beech tree right behind me. Right here. These. And then I'm going to flip the phone around so you guys can see the rest of them. All these trees that come through here, we want gone. There's a couple up here we want gone. Everything that's up on this side is going to go. That maple, those two trees there. We've got everything in the back here because that's where a horse pasture is going to be. And then that maple right there. The cherry tree right there, and then the other cherry tree on the other side of the house. And of course there'll be a few that are in this area here that will get taken down too. So close to 100 trees will be taken down. And like I told my husband, I was like, we can't really sell firewood, so what's the point of us trying to cut them all down ourselves and then try to sell the wood? That'll just take more of our time and other stuff that it takes to actually deal with. That dang hen is out again. You know, just with everything. And I told him, I was like, if they'd give us a decent price on our trees, why not go ahead and let them take them then? And my thing is like, we don't want them having to take them down through here and drag them up because we want the landing to be up here. So I'm thinking that they'll have to take them down and around our property line here because we want to drive anyways back here between the fence and our neighbor's property on the line. So it coming this way up and around, and then they could take everything and go over there with it. But I'm running a little behind today. I went and got my chiropractor appointment done, and my other little appointment that I had scheduled too. So now I'm out here gonna get everybody watered because I know everybody needs topped off. And then the guy should be here to look at all the trees. So tree guy just texted me and said he's on his way. So I said, see you soon. Drive safe. Because I know he's got his mill is about an hour from us right now, and it's east of us in Michigan. So I'm not sure where he's exactly coming from, but the one, Wyatt, he was up here from Ohio because he wanted to be able to get the trees, but he didn't price us out very well with like 65 trees that he marked. And it was like, I can't remember, hold on. So it ended up being like $30.75 a tree, which is way too cheap. When we first had this logged out on, you know, the areas that where we have our like new barn at and the horse pastures and the goats and stuff, all that. And they did take a few off in the back of the property that were just a little more value when prices of trees were up a little bit, but cherry was not. So they didn't even like touch hardly any of the cherry. But like the oaks, they took most of those. They took a walnut that they weren't supposed to touch, but they ended up taking that too. It was just a small walnut, about 18 inches around. The only walnut that we know that we had on our property, they ended up taking it. And we specifically said that we didn't want it touched, and they were just like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah, right. So like I said, there's probably every bit of 100 trees here that are going to need to be taken down. Some of these are a little tricky for them to be able to take them down safely without hitting anything. Bless me. Woo! Excuse me. But yeah, it's around 2:30, so if he's traveling from, say, the mill, it's going to take him an hour to get here, which would be about 3:30. Because he said, well, let's peg for 1:30 to 2:30. Oh, bless me. Excuse me. But we'll see how long it takes him to get here. And then, like I told my husband, I was just like, I think that as long as it's a pretty decent deal, we're hoping for double digits at least on a figure for the amount of trees we want taken down, which would be a little better. I think the last time we did this, we got like around 16,000, I think is what we ended up with. And that money mainly went for renting equipment. It went fast because we needed to be able to get a bigger excavator in here at the time. Kubota didn't have their minis yet. And then we rented a couple different times a skid steer from my husband's job. We rented a couple times the 135, I think it was, excavator from his work. And then we ended up renting a dozer from Wakarusa and then a bigger excavator one time from Wakarusa too. And to rent anything from Wakarusa, it costs us a fortune because Wakarusa is every bit of an hour to an hour and I'm going to say an hour 10, 20 or something like that from us. So fuel costs obviously was the issue. But now that we know where we can get a mini excavator, they don't really charge us for bringing it to us because we're close enough within that 50-mile range. And I think technically we're only like 28 miles from them. But that saves us for that. And then they treat us well. I really think that Kubota does a well job for us. And like what my husband said, as soon as the skid steer is paid for, he's going to buy him a mini excavator. And I told him he really likes the 40, which is their small one. It's not the real mini one, but it's still considered a mini. It's only like roughly just over or just under 10,000 pounds. They have an 80 that has to be brought on a lowboy because it's like almost 30,000 pounds, I think, and it's still considered a mini, but it's a big mini. It's more like a 135. It's supposed to be similar to that. But the 140 that we rented that day that my husband was trying to knock that vine out of that cherry tree and ended up uprooting it, and then it landed on our fence that we had just got done for the horses. Yeah, that one, he really likes that one. They have a 57 that's an open cab. What I mean with open cab, no glass or anything like that in it. It's just basic. It's a bigger machine, but basic. My husband likes the fact that on that 40, it's totally enclosed. But the way that my husband does stuff, even at work, he leaves his front window open so he can still hear what's going on outside. And he does that, even in the wintertime. Very rarely do I see him with the door shut on like even the skid steer. And that's got air conditioning, that's got heat, it's got everything but a radio in it, and they wanted to like charge an extra $2,500 for a radio, and I was just like, yeah, never, my husband don't really listen to the radio anyways. But there's been a few times he's said, I wish we would have got the radio. And I'm thinking, well, you have a phone, and we have a lot of like mini little speakers, so why couldn't you just throw one of those in there and listen to that? Way cheaper than $2,500. But that being said, we're still gonna try to get that if we could possibly get it within the next few years or so, once we get a lot of our stuff paid for. And like that is a item that we know we can't pay cash for because it's already close to $100,000 for it. When you're talking mini excavator stuff, it's not cheap. I think this might be my guy already. Maybe. No, maybe not. I've never seen that vehicle before. Maybe our neighbor's got a new vehicle. Because that is the second time I've seen that vehicle come in. I seen it leave the other day and then it just came back in. So that's not him, obviously. We ain't been talking that long, but, I wasn't sure if he just, like, had texted it, like, on my way, or he's, like, close by or something, but this is how I look at it. If God wants us to have a good price for our trees, we'll end up with it. Just like when we quoted to have this house, when my husband did the house, we quoted it, and Farm Bureau, which is our home insurance, they did a really good job. Our adjuster did a really good job of honestly giving my husband what he thought, if there was a 5-man crew here with a crane. He said, I know there's nothing on our system that shows a skid steer, and I know that you used your equipment, and I know that you didn't have a boom truck, but I went ahead and used the boom truck as, and then the 4 trees, they, because there were 4 trees on the house. So they gave him for that. And what we quoted, they quoted $3,200 less, I think is what it was, than what we quoted. So that was a blessing there. Our neighbors had some rocks taken, and they told me what they had got. And then I asked them when they brought some hay, if our rock pile was similar to their rock pile, and they said yes, but some of our rocks, our boulders, are bigger than the rocks that they had. So they're saying that they believe we have more than what they would got back. So if that's the case, we'll have blessings there. And then if we can get, obviously, a good price for our trees, we'll have a blessing there too. And if we hold on to that money, we'll be able to pay some stuff off, and that's our goal, to be able to do that with. And then my husband wants to be able to rent an excavator for the weekend of Labor Day, because that's a 3-day weekend, and then he wants to be able to actually get some trees down if things don't work out before then. I hear someone else coming down the driveway, or they were leaving again. I'm not sure what's going on. But this is just mainly kind of just my thoughts and stuff, because I feel like when you manifest what you're trying to do and you have the idea of what you want done, God provides. And even if you ask and you want to manifest it, God provides. And knowing that you wake up every day is a blessing, because God gave you another day to change, to do better, to be able to do His work with your talents and all other stuff. And I personally love praying for people. I am a prayer warrior, so if any of my viewers need a prayer, please put it in the comment and I will pray. You don't have to put detail or anything, because God knows what you need. And all I gotta do is just touch whoever it is in my comment, touch that comment, and then pray over it. And I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying that God will hear. He hears all of us. He does. He hears everything. Our mind, our tongue, what's in our heart. And if you don't have God in your heart, I don't know how you wouldn't have God in your heart. Because if you think everything that was put here on our earth, the world, not just America, but the world, the whole world, the sky, the ground, the water, the birds, the stars, the sun, the clouds, all that, the plants, was given to us by God. Now, Jess at Roots and Refuge did a great devotional, just spewed her heart out, and I love it when she does that. She does this about twice a year or so, gives a real good, heartfelt devotional. My water's overfilling. I'm like, why do I hear water? It's because I gotta get up. It's overfilling down there. hear it now. I can't see it, but I can hear it. So let me come down off there and then shut this water off. My husband put cat food in the dang dish for the chickens, the roosters, and the ducks. They're not meant to eat cat food. I tried telling them that, but you know, my husband just thinks, well, it's just a treat. Yeah, a treat that cats are supposed to eat, not a ducks or roosters, for that fact. And I got a nice 8-inch cucumber today. I picked it. A nice, like, 7-inch or so zucchini, and then a really fat crooked neck squash, yellow squash. So, guess what I'm going to be eating tomorrow for lunch? Yep, that would be correct. I'm going to fry me some zucchini and some squash. I got to do some dill pickling and stuff, but not dill pickle, but I want to pickle some of my banana peppers. I think that would be pretty nice. The ducks are down there playing in the water. They just love it. Can you see them? I'll try to get in close to them. Oh, they just left out of the way, so you can't see them now. Darn it. Sorry, I tried. But I'm just going to end this video right here. I got a couple videos actually I need to edit it and then get out of my camera rolls, so then I can try to see if my husband is going to end up doing something tonight. He's not done anything the last few days. He's just been super tired, and I told him, like, look, rest. The man comes home, you know, just kind of visits with everybody a little bit, comes inside, eats dinner, and then usually falls right to sleep, and I'm okay with that. I know my husband, he's a hard worker, and he's not been getting enough sleep, and then he ends up staying up even later because he feels like I don't spend enough time with my wife. And I know what it's like to be with somebody who has to work a lot of hours, who's in construction. My last marriage, I hardly ever saw that man, but when I did, it was terrible. But that's another story for another time. But it's not like I'm not used to being here by myself. I've got plenty of stuff to keep me busy, if I can say stuff right, busy. I got my garden, I've got flowers, I've got horses, I've got goats, I've got rabbits, I've got chickens, I've got ducks, I've got dogs, I've got cats. You know, so I've got plenty to do here, plenty. And I'm very thankful to be able to be home and to be able to live this life that I'm living. But I want to live it more efficiently, if that makes sense. More of knowing that we don't have to go to the grocery store and we don't have to do other things but just stay home and live off the land that we were blessed with. And we have just over 10 acres here, and you can live off a half an acre. You could live off an acre even. All you gotta do is have a supply of meat. Rabbits are great. They multiply like crazy. You could get away with a buck and just a couple of does. Rotate them out. Have rabbit meat, which is very beneficial for you. And you could have a few chickens, like 6 or so. Laying hens. You don't need a rooster, just laying hens to give you your eggs, which is another meat product. You could raise you a few meat birds and have them butchered. Put those in the freezer. There's another source of meat. But I think rabbits are much easier to raise than meat birds. And then you could have you a small garden. Eat what you can and can the rest for the winter time. And grow you some medicinal herbs and stuff that you could keep for like headaches and toothaches and pain and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it grows wild, and you can actually use that stuff to plant on your property with if it's not already there to forage for. Mushrooms. Some people don't like mushrooms. I'm a big mushroom fan. I love mushrooms, portobellas especially, shiitake. I mean, I love them all. And I really hope that my shiitakes come up. I think that's what I planted. No, blue oyster. That's what I planted. So really, I hope that they come up next year. And I planted some morels. Morels are really hard to grow, even here they grow here in Michigan, but we don't have them here on our property. We've got them other long with a black head. I can't remember what they're called. Poor man mushrooms, I guess. But we do have turkey tail growing on our trees out by Diamond and Jill. There's some up there growing right now. I heard those are pretty good. And I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff you could forage for. But if you haven't seen Jess at Roots and Refuge devotional video, please go over and watch that. And just take the time. I think it's about 40 minutes long or so. I know it's at minimum of 30 minutes, but it's a great video. I think it was posted 3 days ago or so. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you're new. Thank you to all our new subscribers, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Till next time. God bless.